Growing up in a public school and having both my parents as teachers, I got to see a lot of diversity and kids with very different backgrounds from mine. Public schools exist so that everyone has a chance at an education, and this gives children who live in poverty and children with a rough at home life an opportunity at a good education. Public schools take in everyone and work to better their lives, while private schools can turn people away and not many can afford to go there. There are many reasons why children should go to public schools because of what they have to offer, the difference between public and private, and the elements of funding. According to the Journal of Educational Administration and History, public schools are able to offer school breakfast and lunches to kids who may not be able to afford it and may not have a meal waiting for them at home. For some students, this is the only healthy food they get in a day. Public schools accept almost all students regardless of their race, sexuality, special needs, religion, or their income. Public schools have students of all academic levels. Most schools offer gifted and talented classes and allow students opportunities to earn college credit while still in high school. Public schools offer regular testing and screening for disabilities. This helps to ensure that no child is left behind and gives them the support in their education. Roughly 55% of students rely on the school bus to get them to school. Without this, many students wouldn't be able to get to school. Public schools require teachers to maintain a teaching license and a state certifications. However, private schools don't require any of that. Even though public schools can offer many subjects, there are some topics they just can't teach, such as religion, which is protected by the First Amendment. Private schools can offer classes about any religion or about any topic. On average, private schools cost about $11,000 per student. With prices like that, many families just can't afford to send their kids to private schools. School vouchers have become available for some families, but that takes money away from public schools. Most families rely on public education and cannot afford private schools. Without public schools, many children would never have an opportunity to get a good education. Public schools are required to have special education services, and some private schools do not have the capabilities to handle students with special needs. The funding for these schools are a blend of federal, state, and local taxes. And according to the article, How Much Does the Government Spend to Send a Kid to Public School? Public schools on average are funded about $10,615 a year just to be ran. And most of the funding comes from property taxes, and only 10% is made up of federal. And state taxes differ from different districts and different states. And based off that statement, the schools that are located in these wealthier communities tend to see more funding. I chose this topic because it's important to me. I grew up with both my parents as teachers, and I saw a lot of diversity at a young age that many kids didn't get to see until they're older. Even though private schools are able to offer some things that public schools can't, without public schools, there would be many kids that wouldn't have the opportunity at a good or fair education. And even though the government spends on average $10,615 a year, not all schools get the same amount of funding. And today, school vouchers take money away from public schools. This threatens public education. Public education is for all abilities, all social economic levels, ethnic groups, and religious beliefs. Public schools are held to high standards and under constant evaluation to ensure that the needs of all students are met and no child is left behind. They are also under attack by budget cuts and public scrutiny. This endangers the poor, the minorities, and special needs.